as you can see, I am indeed a very, very lucky woman. I have the best father that any woman could ever hope for. And I did have, and I do have, the best sons that any woman could hope for. I'm going to start off with a story real quick to tell you about why I was so compelled to go to Washington right after my son was murdered. Because on Thanksgiving, before he was murdered, he wasn't expected to come home. It was a little pricey. Again, we were talking about money. This was a private, out-of-state school, very privileged school. But at last minute, he got a chance to come home for Thanksgiving. And he was on fire. He was on fire. And I'd never seen him like this. I'm like, how's it going? You know, because every time I call him, he paid his own phone bill. And so he's like, you're burning my minutes, Mom. I can't talk to you. I'm really busy. So he came home, and I said, so what's going on? And he says, you've got to see this video, Mom. You've got to see this documentary. Oh, my goodness. He was on fire. I mean, he just was just amazingly on fire. What video? What did you see? What's going on? Mom, I watched Bowling for Columbine by Michael Moore. And it is just insanity. What is going on? We need to talk about it. We need to have the dialogue. We need to figure out why the children in America are dying. He didn't say pro-con. He wasn't really, he just said we need to dialogue. We need to talk. And I was very much into the PTA, was involved in 2 different PTAs at the time. I'd been council member. He said, go to the PTA, go to the council. Mom, make the government, the senior government class, watch this movie all over the city, because we had already lost 29 kids in my city of Newport News that is less than 200,000 people. So when you do the per capita on that, that's high. That's a bit much. People had been dying his senior year, all over the place, been shot in the street mostly. I'd say 80–90% of them. So I said, okay, Patrick, I will watch this movie as soon as I get the chance. I'll go out. And he said, no, I don't think you understand. You need to watch this now. And I said, all right, when I get a chance. I was making collard greens or something. You know, we had a big 30 people, you know, gathering in Smithfield to go to. Said, I can't, you know. He runs out the door. Like my father said, very busy boy, never to be stopped. So he ran out the door. He comes back immediately, and he's got it. And it's gone to Blockbuster. He says, here it is. Watch it now. And I'm still stirring the pot, and I'm like, yeah, I got the time. I've got your brothers. We're running around. All right, finally. So my husband and I sat down and watched it. And we were just kind of had this look on our face, like, wow, that's a lot of statistics, a lot of cultural issues. They're talking about guns. And I said, I said, how did this come to be? Well, my freshman class watched this, and we discussed it. Everybody needs to be talking about this. Little did I know that just weeks later, he would be shot to death by a stranger in front of our own home on New Year's Eve over horn honking, of all things. Of all things. Over, hey, would you not make so much noise? And he was attacked, brutally attacked by 3 young men, and then shot to death by a young man brought down from a party that was going down the street. So that year in America, 2004, nearly 30,000 people. He was one of the first of 30,000 people killed by gunfire in America, killed with bullets in America. Children, grandmothers, babies, fathers, police officers, sons, young men, young women, pregnant women. 30,000, almost 30,000. Among them, is higher in suicide rate by gunfire. You really can't get that wrong. You're going to shoot yourself to death. Slightly higher than homicide. So he was one of 11,781 people murdered by a handgun, or I'm sorry, not a handgun, but guns of any kind in America that year. One of the first out of that many. Now in Europe, most of those countries, any country, pick a country, their averages usually not more than 100 people per year. 100 people per year in most European countries. You know, it can be done. We can make a safer place for our children and for our loved ones. There are statistics that are reliable. We know, we do know, we've done enough statistics. We have a wonderful, Andy Goddard is a master at figuring all this data out. It is simple. It is simple. It is very simple. more guns make more deaths, period. And my son saw that, and he said that to me. So with this blessing of having him as a son and encouraging his artwork, having a mother who taught him, I give it up, I guess also my mother was an art teacher, taught him from the 2nd grade on. I mean, just everything that she knew as a natural ability, and just so driven, just so passionate about the work. I think that's what my father was talking about, the passion that came out through his work, and the teachers that came to our memorial, and all of his educators. And he just loved school, and he loved people. And it was such a traumatic loss, but as a mom, I knew we had to do something with this. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight to look at all this work and take with you the message to your community, to your church, to your neighbors, to the kids you work with, to your friends and your family. Have this dialogue with them. What is the right thing to do? What do we need to be pushing for? I didn't know I could lobby as just a woman on the street. I was lobbying in Washington, D.C. that summer for the Brady campaign right after we lost Patrick. And that's how I learned. I own my life, and I can take something back. I can make sure that maybe the stats will be lower than my other 2 children who were only 10 and 13 when they came home to look at the blood on the street and find out that their hero of a brother was dead. How could I help make their lives safer? And for the new one I brought into the world shortly thereafter. And this is the way to advocate and keep talking about it and bringing it forward and talking about how important it is, because bullets have no name. They will, on a shootout, they'll come through the wall. We just lost a woman this summer standing in her kitchen, some shootout. They don't even know where the bullet came from, where the drivers were. It's ludicrous. We must do something. Go forward, do what you can. There's plenty of information here. And thank you so much to Catherine Wass again. David Woods, one of my son's longtime friends from elementary school, and I also want to thank, of course, Jenny Goff, who is now a professor at ODU. Those are dear friends of my son. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.